I'm Allison, 34, and last Christmas changed everything between my sister and me. When Heather's glossy invitation arrived, I was thrilled until her call came about Christmas. Allison, don't bring your family. They're low class and not on my level. Just you. Her words pierced my heart like icicles. 15 years of supporting her lavish lifestyle while raising my kids on a nurse's salary, and this was my thanks. I had a decision to make. If you're watching this, drop a comment telling me where you're viewing from and hit subscribe to hear what happened when I showed up. Anyway, I've always been the responsible one. While my younger sister Heather chased dreams of luxury, I built a life centered on what truly matters. My children, Emma and Tyler, 10 and 8, are my world. Our modest 3-bedroom rental isn't featured in magazines, but it's filled with laughter and love. As a pediatric nurse working at County General Hospital, I often pull double shifts to provide for us. But seeing my kids thrive makes every exhausting hour worthwhile. Heather and I took different paths from the beginning. Growing up in suburban Michigan, we shared a bedroom with floral wallpaper and bunk beds, but we might as well have been from different planets. While I saved my allowance for books and later college, Heather spent every penny on fashion magazines and makeup. I still remember her 16-year-old declaration, "I'm going to marry rich and never worry about money again." Our parents, hardworking. Teachers who taught us the value of education and compassion would exchange worried glances when Heather made such pronouncements. Dad would gently remind us that character outlasts possessions, while Mom emphasized that true success comes from contribution, not acquisition. These lessons shaped me, but seemed to bounce off Heather entirely. After college, where I studied, nursing on scholarships and worked part-time, I started my career and met Jack, who became my children's father. Our relationship didn't last. He wasn't ready for family responsibilities, but he gave me Emma and Tyler before moving across the country. He sends occasional child support checks when he remembers, but we manage without counting on them. Meanwhile, Heather dropped out of community college after meeting Richard, the son of a successful real estate developer. Their whirlwind romance led to a lavish wedding that our parents couldn't afford to contribute much toward. I remember emptying my modest savings to help them pay for the flowers Heather insisted she needed. She promised to pay me back someday, but that day never came. Instead, a pattern merged. Heather would call in tears about an overdue credit card bill threatening her reputation. Or she'd mention casually how embarrassed she'd be if she couldn't join Richard's colleagues' wives for their spa weekend. Each time I'd transfer money with the understanding, it was just until things settled. Those things never settled. And over 15 years, I've funneled nearly $60,000 into maintaining my sister's facade. Why did I do it? Part of me still saw the little girl who'd climb into my bed during thunderstorms. If you're watching this, drop a comment letting me know where you're tuning in from. Hit subscribe, and if if you've ever had to prove someone wrong who underestimated you. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. Of me felt responsible for her happiness. And honestly, part of me believed her promises that once she and Richard made it big, they'd repay everything with interest. What Richard didn't know, what no one knew except Heather and me, was that his family's wealth was mostly tied up in properties and not accessible for daily luxuries. His monthly income covered their mortgage and basics. But Heather's designer, wardrobe, spa treatments, and lavish parties were largely funded by her schoolteacher sister's nursing salary. Each year, Heather's Christmas gathering became more extravagant and her attitude more condescending. Last year, she referred to my sensible sedan as quaint and suggested Emma might benefit from elocution lessons. I swallowed my pride, remembering how our parents emphasized family loyalty above all. My children adored their Aunt Heather despite everything. They saw only the glamorous woman who gave expensive gifts and lived in a mansion. Emma had been talking about Heather's Christmas party for weeks, especially excited about seeing the 12-oot tree with its color-coordinated ornaments and the chocolate fountain Heather had mentioned during her last visit. Tyler had proudly made a special ornament for his aunt's tree in art class, a clay star painted gold with red glitter around the edges. He'd wrapped it carefully in tissue paper, asking me repeatedly if I thought Aunt Heather would like it. "She likes fancy things," he'd said, his small face serious as he added another layer of tissue for protection. The invitation had arrived in late November, thick cream cardstock with gold embossing announcing their annual holiday soiree. I'd marked the date on our calendar, and we'd begun our preparations, saving a little each week for appropriate gifts and outfits. Then came the phone call that changed everything. When I hung up the phone after Heather's shocking request, my hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down. Her words echoed in my mind. Low class, not on my level. I thought about all the nights. I'd eaten ramen so I could send her money for whatever crisis she was facing. The family vacation to the Grand Canyon weed canned when Heather needed help with her property taxes. The second job I'd taken cleaning medical offices on weekends when Richard's company had a temporary downturn. My first instinct was to call. her back and tell her exactly where she could put her Christmas invitation. Instead, I texted my best friend Rachel, who came over with a bottle of wine after her shift at the hospital where we both worked. She said, "What?" Rachel exclaimed, pouring us each a generous glass. "After everything you've done for her, Allison, you need to cut her off completely." "It's not that simple," I sighed, glancing toward the kids' bedrooms where they were doing homework. "They love their aunt, and despite everything, she's still my sister." Rachel shook her head. "Your sister is taking advantage of you. Has been for years. You work 60-hour weeks while she posts Instagram photos from luxury resorts." "I know," I admitted, "but family is family. Mom and Dad always taught us to stick together. Your parents also taught you about dignity and self-respect," Rachel countered. "Would they want you to be treated this way?" That question stayed with me long after Rachel left. The next morning, I found Emma looking at the calendar where we'd marked Heather's Christmas party with a red star. "How many more days until Aunt Heather's party?" she asked excitedly. "I want to see if her pool is frozen like last year." Tyler joined us, clutching his wrapped ornament. "Do you think Uncle Richard will do the scavenger hunt again? I almost found the golden candy cane last time." Their innocent excitement made my decision even harder. How could I tell them we weren't welcome because their aunt thought we weren't good enough? That the presents they'd helped select, a handcrafted scarf for Heather and a fishing book for Richard, weren't sophisticated enough for my sister's standards? That evening, I pulled out the memory box containing photos of Heather and me growing up. There we were, building sand castles at Lake Michigan, riding bikes with streamers on the handlebars, opening Christmas presents in matching pajamas. When had money and status become more important to her than these shared memories, I remembered? Our father's words when Heather announced she was marrying Richard. "Just remember who you are, sweetheart. Where you come from. Money changes circumstances, not character." Dad had been gone 5 years now. Mom 3. What would they advise me to do in this situation? The answer came clearly. They would tell me to stand up for myself and my children while still leaving the door open for reconciliation. That night, I made my decision. We would attend the Christmas gathering, all 3 of us. If Heather wanted to make a scene in front of her high society friends, that would be her choice. But I would no longer enable her delusion of grandeur, at the expense of my children's dignity or my own self-respect. The next 2 weeks were spent preparing. I used my Christmas bonus to buy Emma a beautiful emerald green dress that made her eyes shine. For Tyler, I found a handsome little suit at a consignment shop that looked brand new. I splurged on having their outfits professionally pressed and scheduled appointments at the salon where my friend Jessie worked for proper haircuts. For myself, I chose a simple black cocktail dress I'd worn to a hospital fundraiser, adding a statement necklace Rachel insisted on lending me. "If you're going into battle, you need proper armor," she'd said, fastening the sparkling pendant around my neck. I also prepared the children, carefully explaining that sometimes adults have disagreements, but that didn't mean they should worry. And Heather is very particular about her home. I explained during our family dinner. So we'll need to use our very best manners. And if she seems upset about something, that's not about you, okay? That's grown-up stuff. "Is Aunt Heather mad at us?" Tyler asked, his brow furrowed with concern. "No, sweetheart. Aunt Heather just has a different way of doing things. But we're family, and family shows up for each other even when..."